That was a bad quiz.
It's the quiz's fault, not yours.
Exactly. Okay, Rumble going to be banned away first as we dive into the draft for Game 1. Humble Life Esports with the blue side advantage as they will take away the Rumble and the Kalista, Yone, and the Vi removed on the side of the DN Freaks. Xin Zhao, kind of what's standing out. Pantheon, of course, feeling very strong at this point in time. And Talia, bit of a no-brainer here as that one is going to be removed. The first pick, I think, going to be aimed towards that top side.
I think it's B1 Azir.
Or it's, yeah, B1 Azir. I was thinking B1 Gwen because we've been seeing so much of it, but I like the Azir a lot more with that Talia ban. Yeah,
well, it's going to be Xin Zhao, Gwen, or Azir. It's just that the Talia ban would make me in that, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and the trade of Xin Pantheon is something that teams have been pretty happy with.
Yeah, not too bothered. You can even go Skarner. I know a lot of teams like that Skarner setup together with the...
I think Skarner's bad.
Well, yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but I'm just preparing us for what might come. As the Gwen gets locked in, Gwen Pantheon is then secured.
Why didn't they take double circles, Chronicler?
You wanted Xin?
Yes, I like Xin Gwen is
like,
strong.
My first one was like, you want Wukong? I'm like, that's a bit, that's 2 circles, but not going to be the case. The flex pick of the Poppy, I think, would be great here. Obviously, most likely will go to Peanut because Peanut loves playing Poppy.
Yep. Also works really well into Pantheon. I kind of like it denying the stun.
It's also good with Azir. As the last time we saw this matchup, things were not good for the Gwen. They were really, really rough.
Yeah, but then you can just play Zoe.
I like the Annie here. Annie Pantheon, that's a mid-jungle duo that does its job. This one will be not quite as interesting, but still makes a ton of sense. We'll see. Dudu most likely going to be running the Exhaust Gwen. Gwen is one of the characters where you can get away with that because of the safety shroud and her E, so that's nice at least.
Now, and last time we saw Zeus completely terrorize a game as his Kennen, there was double exhaust on the other side.
Yes, and he still
did the Kennen things.
Yeah. We'll see. But ends up coming through here. I would love if DN Freaks pick AD carry on 4 and then let Life maybe pull out something like the set.
Yeah.
Into an enemy cannon, you know, he tries to jump into your team. Slam him out. Lucian taken away. So Ashe, I think, makes sense. Jhin is one that you can go with these type of compositions. Varus would have made sense as well. Ashe, Jhin, and utility. MF is stronger in the lane. Do think that this is a MF game that's a little bit tricky to play into the air and the cannon.
I feel like, playing it into some of the most dangerous flanking mages in the game, if you can even really call Kennen a mage. It's so weird. He's like technically a ninja, but he is kind of, does a lot of magical damage. And if he does make it into that backline, it's going to be very difficult to stand there and press a bullet time button. You'd hope that bullet time was actually like it is in the Matrix, you know, where everything slows down and then the cannon can't immediately kill you. I think it should be. I think Life has had some great performances on the champion, and they are very short range and brawly, and you may as well just all in on the tactic. Instead, looking at the Braum, which we have seen have a lot of success so far this week, and Nico would be better for the lane. They are going to lock that one in instead, so double range there towards that bottom side. I think Viper and Delight are going to have a tough time in that 2v2. But I think ultimately, Humble Life Esports have set themselves up a terrifying team-fighting composition. And the DN Freaks, a little bit of power towards that bottom side of the map, some skirmishing strength in the Pantheon Ahri. I think that shouldn't be understated, that 2v2 is going to be difficult for Peanut and Zeka to play. The amount of early damage that you will have out of those two champions is strong. I just feel like as a unit, Humble Life Esports' composition looks absolutely terrifying.
The DN Freaks come to me have clear win conditions early on. You have a strong 2v2 lane that you can play towards, and you have a really good mid-jungle duo. I do think picking Ahri into Poppy is a bit optimistic.
Yeah.
That is something that is going to make it a lot harder to play that out. There is also, if you play towards bot side, which is what I imagine they will do, there is a pressing issue to which I don't see a solution, which is Zeus on one of his Lightning champions in a counter matchup.
Yes!
That is a big problem. I don't think you can really afford to play towards that too heavily, although That has been his biggest weakness, is how heavily he plays towards the lane, which is why his stats are so crazy, but it also means that he is a bit more of a subtle target, so maybe they'll try and shut him down early, as Zeus did go for the best cannon skin, which I think, I love the double skin.
And also, Ragdoll Poppy, bit of a hipster skin there for Peanut as well. You love to see that, but it is time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive under the rift for game number 1, HLE versus DNF.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Ooh, DNF fans. I can hear the desperation, but there's also a lot of volume here in Lowell Park today. And honestly, a lot of bums on seats when it comes to one of our lower teams as far as the standings are concerned. You can really see that no matter who you are, there is someone that's going to be there to support you. And in the case of our LCK teams, there are a lot of people. So very impressive stuff coming out to support the underdog in their most difficult week. Of course, they went up against Gen G earlier on, and now DNF have to face the second place team here in the LCK. But HLE just lost to KT. This would be the time where you could take them down. It's not HLE coming off a loss against Gen G, which would have been understandable. It's KT. And no one should lose to KT, and everyone should lose to KT. But also no one should lose to KT, if you are HLE, especially.
Yeah, generally KT saved their blue shell. You know how you're like you're kind of down in the rankings in Mario Kart. You're making sure that the blue shell is at the ready, just the right time. Usually it's saved for Gen G. Not the case though with that win over Hanwha, but as we have often talked about what KT does and how we don't understand it on a fundamental level. But we can highlight what went wrong for Hanwha Life. And it was Peanut and Zeus specifically that I think were the two big weak points on that specific day. I think the Light also didn't have his best showing, even though he has been incredible. As well, I mean, we knew this was
there's
gonna
not
happen,
a lot
right?
of good stats, are there?
They are 1 and 12 and -19. So I think it'll always going to be hard-pressed to find stats that look good.
Ooh, Orbit Deception going to connect there from Bulldog, putting on some pressure here. Zeka not going to be too worried. Pretty comfortable on the Azir these days, as we know. Was one of the champions he used to win Worlds in 2022, so still pretty good at that. As Chovy and Faker, the only ones to win in this matchup as the Ahri.
That's not good.
Yeah. Bulldog is not one of the names on the list, so it would have been better for this specific matchup if Bulldog was one of those names, but instead he just needs to play as well as Faker and Chovy. Yeah, let's just do that.
I like your problem solving.
Yeah,
it's
sometimes the simplest solution is the most obvious, you know? And the most obvious is just play like Chovy and Faker in order to win this matchup. Also, like, have Canyon or Owner as your jungler. That would be helpful as well.
Yeah, but there really are. You know the meme about like the two paths you can take, and then one is sunny and the other is like no. Which, as I found out, is from a Yu-Gi-Oh card apparently.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I had no idea. If it's Owner and Canyon, the paths are different because they're very different styles, but they both get you to the sunny part.
Yeah,
And Peanut had, I think, a great LCK Cup, has had a lot of good moments, but has kind of tapered off a little bit in the recent weeks. This is something that with Peanut
it's sort of like, it's the mid-season crisis that he often has. That's all right, Zeka is going to get interrupted here. Live comes over and is a little bit annoying. No follow-up there, but is going to be denied a bit of time. Might give a little bit of tempo over to DNF here as well. As Zeka, you can see, not going to be resetting just yet. Needs to catch that wave as the swap has come on through. Having a look, just a little bit of a peek towards that top side. We don't want to be watching it too much because it's just going to, like, we don't want to bully Dudu, you know? That is Zeus' job, and hopefully he's going to do it off camera. It is just going to be a very difficult time for the Gwen. We've seen this already. But you can see, he's ahead by about a wave thus far.
They're going to get a lot better as the ward has been placed. I think Zeus was looking for a stun. Maybe set up something onto Dudu. Is still easier to gank because of the fact that he doesn't have a defensive summoner. Well, he does, but, you know, not one that gets him to the safety of his turret too easily, as
It was a decent sidestep, but that's a lot of damage taken by Viper.
You actually have a ton of pressure coming through here from the bot side of DNF, and they should, right? This is why we picked Nico. The call, though, for Berserker adds even more pressure to Hanwha Life to try and not fall too far behind in that lane.
Very impressive thing is that even with the cull, they're able to command this much control of the lane. Crash is going to come through. It looks like Viper will be able to pretty comfortably take the cannon here as well. Delivered there by Delight.
Even then, that's what, like 12?
Yeah, no, it's a big lead. Pyosik also able to put some pressure on here towards the bottom side. Flash comes through. The exhaust is down as snip, snip goes Dudu. And the flash comes out and the charged up Q from Pyosik locks up the first blood. So we were talking about some bullying. That's why you call your cousin. He comes over and he helps out. They're not cousins, by the way. It's just that was the thing when I was in primary school. It's like, I'll get my cousin to come over and
yeah, really, I'm kind of sad you wasted it on this play because that would have been a perfect cuz joke.
Ah, would have been.
Sorry, missed opportunity there. But this is what we highlighted. Credit to Pyosik. One of the biggest weaknesses of Zeus is with the style that he plays is that he is susceptible to ganks. And I actually thought he was out. I thought he was fine. Wasn't meant to be. Great timing on the gank here. Zeus does know something is wrong. And the exhaust actually working very nice offensively, but it's the max stack Q that actually ends up doing it. The damage more than enough.
Also stuck in a very awkward position as well, in between the turrets, so not a lot of juking available.
And it's one of those scenarios where if he's 5 seconds later, then Zeus has the crash, like he clears the wave and he can just back off, right? And if Dudu tries to freeze, he can maybe look for harass. But now Zeus did catch, I think, because of the fact that Dudu still got pretty low and Pyosik wasn't able to push out too far, still got a decent amount of the wave. But once this crashes, I think that Dudu will be basically even, which you're going to take if you're in this matchup. You still have Prio, so you can play towards the Dragon.
Yeah, quite a few cast minions here, as we can see. See how many of them Dudu will be allowed to get. Zeus trying to put on as much pressure as possible. Catalyst going to really help out Dudu in this lane, though, as far as being harassed. As long as he can fight back, should be an opportunity here. Zeus missing a bit of the CS, but wants to desperately pick up this crash, and will be able to do so. Peanut will collect the Dragon very, very early on in this game. We haven't seen a lot of very early Dragons, only alive for 2.5 minutes. And is not going to be one of our ignored Dragons this game. The Soul definitely going to be a win condition for HLE especially.
This has been a constant in DNF games. Their laning phase is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, they were, what, middle of the pack as far as early advantages are concerned?
Yeah, they were fine. Their laning has been one of the few things that has consistently been pretty solid. We had like I think Bulldog pre-swap out was really rough, and then Pongyan also wasn't able to catch up. But now I think we get to, you know, normal Bulldog where he falls behind a little bit, but he's been fine. Kind of where he was in 2024 as well.
Yep.
But it's the skirmishes that I need to see from DNF. That is where they had their biggest improvement against KT, where Pyosik and Life actually look to be on the same page. But it's also been where they have completely fallen apart. We might see one of those here. It looks like mid lane not allowed to roam. Bulldog being kept in that lane.
Yeah, Tangle Bobs comes through here from Life, as that is Peanut locking down one of these. Bulldog going to get thrown away by the Emperor's Divide. Zeka not going to have that for the skirmish.
Jhin is ult.
So does Peanut, but he throws it away. Pyosik comes down as Zeka trying to leave. It's 2 grubs going over to HLE, but they may lose their mid laner for it. As flash out from Zeka. He holds onto the button, and he knows that Pyosik was looking for that one. Of course, they have a bit of experience together. And he does get himself away. So HLE, bit of highway robbery here, as it was DNF that started off the grubs. They take 2 of them, and they keep their mid laner alive. But the flash is now down.
Pyosik looking for that roasted pigeon there. You know, impale him on the spear, take him home. Not gonna happen. Still, I like the play. I actually thought that was a cool little setup there from Pyosik, able to redirect with his ult, then use the upgraded movement speed from E to get on top of the Azir. And Bulldog can follow up. Just barely doesn't get the kill. But pretty even trade, I'd say. 2 grubs is fine, but, you know, grubs have been more of a it's nice to have as opposed to a feels like they are really worth a lot.
Yep.
You take your eyes off your turn a little bit, but the early game for DN Freaks looking good here.
It is. One of the worries that I have is that the more and more I watch this HLE figure themselves out, and when we see them at their best, the most impressive part for me is just how malleable Viper is, as he is going to walk out of a bullet time as best he can. It was almost a caster curse, but just his ability to play weak side or carry is just kind of ridiculous. His Jhin undefeated at the moment, demonstrating that they have him on weak side duty quite often, playing that utility role, and he's just absorbing pressure all the time. Just must be very frustrating facing off against this guy. As speaking of frustrating, Dudu does have some friends here towards the bottom side. Zeus will be exhausted, but that does wear off, and Dudu now trying to get out of the way. He will survive as the shuriken does not land. So HLE not able to find it, and they do get the exhaust, but there was no flash to gain from Dudu, so he's still going to be scary.
Does open up some possibilities for a fight where Zeus will have no one to exhaust, because DNF are only running the single one.
Yep. Only
Dudu has his available. Still nicely done there by the gang from Peanut, even though he doesn't get the kill. I think if he has his ult, then maybe they can, right? Like, I think an extra knock-up could have done it. But they do get the summoner. They also get the TP out of the Gwen. I think Zeus will be fine. This is just, if it was actually Pioshik, I think he could be in some serious trouble, but not going to be the case. Dudu, though, using the tempo thanks to his support to get, I think it's at least one, but maybe even 2 plates here.
That should be the next one. Oh, never mind. Teleport is going to be enough to deter him. As the captive audience is down, Dudu should be able to deal with this wave as in goes Zeus. Finds himself the stun, but you can see with this Rod of Ages now completed, Dudu is very, very comfortable. And so far, so good here for the DN Freaks. All right, Pioshik also going to find Peanut as he makes his way in. He's going to run pretty fast, though. Phase Rush and Poppy. You're not killing it.
No, Atlas, you know I'm not one for overreactions.
All right.
But are we a one-team region?
Well, I mean, was HLE ever going to be the same kind of domestic powerhouse as Gen G ever?
No, because no one is. That's kind of the whole.
Well, I mean, okay, so
that's
like
kind of the issue
even
with
like
Gen G, right?
The other like I guess comparison that you could make is KT a couple of years back, right, where they were domestically dominant. Like, they were really, really good at winning at home. Really? HLE is just a team that, if they make it to playoffs, they will probably just win. This is the thing. That's the frustration that you have. In just your regular season, everyday best of 3, majority of the time, they're going to win. Sometimes, they're just not going to really worry too much about the result. That's what we saw at the beginning of this week. Maybe this is like a wellness week, you know? Where they're just not really focusing on the scrims. It's all about, you know, like, they've been pampering. They're going to the spa, you know, that stuff.
They've been they were up a mountain yesterday to enjoy the view.
Exactly. It's all about hitting that Zen state.
Before summer sets in.
Exactly.
You know, and also, like, who cares? We're 11 and 2.
I mean, it's the first couple of weeks of, like, really, really lovely weather here in Seoul as well. So this would be the time to have the wellness week.
Atlas, if I'm having a bad time and I need a good reason, like an excuse for why I've been slacking, I'm texting you.
Oh, heck yeah. We can have a wellness weekend.
This is well, no, I mean more so the way you're, you know, there's no responsibility for Hanwha in this scenario.
No, there's not.
Like, guys, it's fine.
Yeah, it's perfect. If you're ever looking for an excuse, I'm your guy. I'm right there.
You can just add him on Twitter.
Maybe part of the reason why I'm not a rocket scientist.
If you need an excuse for anything, Atlas is your man.
I got you. So, HLE, they are feeling very, very comfortable, relaxed, and happy.
We're just assuming this is the truth now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Assumptions sometimes make things more fun. As Berserker going to move towards the mid lane, this is going to be sort of that mid-game switch-up that we're going to see. The dangerous part of the game for the DN Freaks.
Atlas, if you can choose between Hot Spring, sauna, or like classic wellness resort. I know there's overlap, but like, you know the archetype I'm kind of talking about?
Yeah, for me it's hot spring,
so it's like
and it's not
like
even close.
It's like nature-based hot spring.
Yeah.
Traditional Finnish sauna.
I actually
like in the middle of winter.
Yeah, I personally hate anything that involves like extra people.
And then
so I would
wellness
prefer,
resort never. Okay.
What I want is like a long hike, and at the end there is a hot spring.
And there's no one else.
And there's no one there.
It's just yeah, that's good.
That's what I want. I actually like saunas bother me. I'm not really a huge fan.
I'm a sauna winter guy. You know, you just have like your tiny wooden...
Yeah, the wooden box.
The wooden box, and then you get out
European.
in the snow.
Yeah.
Ah, it's amazing.
What's snow again? No, I know all about snow now.
You're
I've been
in
here for 8
Korea?
years. Yeah, never mind. I just bought a snowboard.
We have gone snowboarding twice!
We have indeed. Shout out to Seth Achilleos King,
No,
the leader of the movement towards snow activities here in Korea.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we have about 2 minutes, right? Because then Dragon... Oh, we might have more time.
2 minutes plus some more. Perhaps we can have some more conversations about how we feel about saunas and other such relaxation. Maybe HLE felt like they weren't quite relaxed enough. And so now they're just going to need, they need the manicure completed or something like that.
Get the massage gun, Dandy.
Yeah, exactly.
My left shoulder is not in good spot.
I'm seeing that, posture-wise, I would expect after, a weekend of pampering, it would look a little bit better. Zeus is doing a little bit of the crone look right now, and so it's not really helping us. But that smile on Peanut's face is showing that they're not really too worried about what's going on right now. And in fact, that would make some sense. Nothing in this game has really given us too much of a hint of how it's going to eventuate, outside of Pyoshik looking like he's on a bit of form here today, at least with his earlier plays. That grin on Delight is always a worry.
So far, draft kind of shaking out, I think, the way that we were expecting. The punish to come through, even though Zeus was doing well in the 1v1. The bot lane setup was, I think, actually really well done by the DNF so far. Actually getting the leads that we wanted in the 2v2.
Yep.
And the early skirmish, well, we haven't really, that's again, we're going to hold off a little bit until we see an actual skirmish. The ganking has been great. The pathing for Pyoshik early.
Oh dear. So I don't know whether, we'll get confirmation as to whether this is something that we're allowed to talk about on broadcast, but we have an idea of what happened. It may require a chrono break, so we might be sitting here for a little bit longer. I can take this opportunity to let everyone know that Cadril has gone live. I'd just appreciate it if you do go over to Cadril's co-stream, which I know a lot of people do prefer, if you just leave this open so we can just artificially inflate the numbers. You know?
Kind of love that.
Yeah, that's
good energy.
That's what I'm thinking.
And you know he'd be on board with that as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know,
I'm hoping that that's sort of the way. I think he was when I checked, he'd been live for 4 minutes or something like that. So this is the perfect time. There's no chrono break, by the way, guys. This was Life bought a banned item. It's just not allowed at the moment, and Life has to go back, and he sells it as, Dudu going to be pushed away here by Zeka, who says, no, I would prefer it if we didn't do that. The other Pantheon is now going to look for him, but I think Zeka has made it far enough and is going to be okay. And he's just going to be heading off now. Yeah, Pyoshik was thinking about setting up for some sort of potential dive, but not going to be sticking around for that one. As here we go. Just wandering back. We've got some pings out, really accurate ones there from the DN Freaks as well, spotting the fact that there is a couple coming down here towards this bottom side. As Pyoshik and Dudu wanting to finish off this turret. In goes Zeka, but he does have Peanut there. No Emperor's Divide, but no chance here, and Pyoshik knows that he's going to flash away as Life makes his way out. All right, and Zeus also going for a little bit of aggression here towards the top side, just a trade of ultimates though, and he picks up the pedal. So you can see, Orcs is going to be happy with how this game's going. So far, the first pedal we see immediately taken and prioritized.
Very good. The old statement, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. If Zeka is TPing back into a turret that is definitely under heavy siege, that probably means his buddies are right on the way. The timely arrival of Delight and Peanut ensures that he is fine.
Zeka. Nice little crash there. Goes an awkward direction. Has to flash immediately, but does get out. That was yeah, he had a car accident, but he survived just fine in the end. Had to use his airbag, which was the flash in this particular example.
Yeah, Zeka, I was giving you praise for the previous TP. I'd appreciate it if you don't then immediately literally faceplant into a wall.
He got the charge.
Yeah, he did.
That's something. Just want to say that I appreciate you all in chat, letting us know that you are leaving the stream open. This is a beautiful community that we have here. And we're just so happy to have you. Okay, Viper and Berserker doing that 80 carry thing, parked in this mid lane, as Delight is going to be set up as well. And Zeka just sort of nursing his ego at this point in time, but he's going to make his way back out, does have his ulti back up and available, and I'm hoping that we get something to break this stalemate. As right now it's a Cloud Soul, that certainly helps with the action, so it'll just speed things up just a little bit. As Zeka, I was talking about you nursing your ego. He was looking to try and make a bit of a play there, but is closed in on, able to shift the sands, gets himself out of the way.
Remind ourselves, last time DNF took a game off of Hanwha. Not quite there yet, but it would be cool. There's, I do gotta say, for DNF, it really is a hit or miss on the ultimate. You know, the value of Cloud Soul, like the speed up that you get. Because you do have one of the characters which is probably the worst out of anyone.
All right, Dudu. Oh, going a bit aggressive. It's a preemptive exhaust. An early flash there from Zeus as well, but they're committing to this dive. Pyoshik taking so much damage. He's dead. And that was not the dive that we wanted to see. Last time around, it went well. This time, the God of Thunder is going to strike.
Just take the exit, man. Yeah, you do. Well,
yeah, sometimes you got to gracefully take the L.
We just, you know, you can't. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with this. Yeah. There was a very clear.
As it turns out, he could.
Yeah, there was a very clear exit. Right there is
There's a flash forward from Delight. Picks them up with the Magnet Storm there as well. Zeus, no ulti, but no worries there. As the curtains have been called. Oh, one more bullet. And not going to land, as Berserker will survive. Fancy footwork, and of course, a little bit easier when you get to strut your stuff, but nicely done. As Viper just wandering past this turret with that fourth bullet at the ready. That and a grenade probably was the end of Berserker there. As out goes Dudu. A little bit terrified of Thunderlord making his way back up towards that top side of the map, and is going to respect it. So 1-1. Is going to be an even trade, and in fact it was Pyoshik killing Zeus and then Zeus killing Pyoshik that is the result of that. Still things extremely even outside of the extra grubs and the extra dragon.
The moment you get the flash, that's good.
Yeah.
Even after that, you can still peace out.
Pyoshik's been playing for a while. Maybe he thought that he was the Pantheon that could dodge turret shots. It's not sort of the way. As once again, Zeus is just going to make them look silly on his cannon. Dudu still looking to chase after him. We'll see whether the stun is going to come through. It is going to be there, but finally, the rest of the cavalry turns up, and Bulldog will be able to take them down, but not after the cost. Like, it is a 1-for-1 trade, and turret falls down in mid, turret falls down in the bottom lane, and the DN Freaks not going to be able to get too much for this one, outside of Dudu maybe being able to take down this top outer turret that was already very low anyway.
So to summarize,
yes.
Zeus is still up 630 gold. He traded 1-for-1.
Okay.
Dudu is definitely not going to survive this.
Well, we're Hex flashing. Viper is going to be able to lock him down.
That's Otacon.
Yeah, that is Otacon. That is a dead Gwen, and that is starting to look like a real advantage that HLE has in this game.
Dan Freaks, oh, he's on a mission.
All for this.
Oh, he is ready. They do not know. I mean, he's Pantheon though, so I assume they're gonna, yeah, like it doesn't really matter where he is, and they're just not gonna go for it anyway. Would have been cool though, but I don't think realistically he makes it there, so.
I think the idea of not going in was definitely one of his better choices.
Well, but they should have done that earlier. If you're gonna not go in,
hey,
not
you've
going
got to
earlier.
Celebrate learning from your mistakes, Chronicler, okay? You can look at things two ways, right? And that kind of negativity I don't think is constructive. And I think celebrating when they identify a mistake and then pivot away from it, that is the thing we should focus on. So this is part of the mistake.
Yeah, Life unceremoniously dies because Zeus is still quite big in this game. Very fed.
Yeah, and from that point on, this is always a losing trade.
Yes. Well, so if they then just back off after that, I think it is still fine. But it's the fact that Peanut is able to catch Dudu with the sweeper over the wall, deny, and then you're never getting away from the Poppy and Jin combo. As
okay. Bulldog, oh, they're still going after him. Charm is going to connect, though, as the Deadly Flourish very, very close. Bulldog just out of range of that one. Viper is like a sniper, man. It is very scary.
That's why it rhymes.
Yeah. Does it? Sniper, Viper? Yeah, I guess it does. It's something about the sn start of it that just really doesn't sound rhyming with v. They're just very different, but when they end with "iper,"
notoriously,
fine,
I think rhyming, the more important part is
it's
the end of the word.
It is the end, you're right. Okay, Zeka is going to find some air here, and Pioshik will be able to lock him down. Still, life is just dead. How does Zeka go in for just a straight-up air ball?
Atlas.
And then the rest of his team's there to, oh, never mind, it was an alley-oop. No, it's fine.
Atlas, clearly he was ulting for zone control, okay?
Oh, no, he was actually cleaning. He was just sweeping the ground to make sure it's all clean.
Yeah, and then, oh, I didn't sweep up live? Well, that's fine. You guys can kill him. That was never my priority
Yeah, because
anyway.
he didn't move back, he was already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This game is rapidly becoming a little silly.
It's becoming something that we have to make excuses for rather than actually just commentate.
Well, I think we are also somewhat to blame. And when looking at the game state, it is actually still quite close. So maybe we are wrong in treating this like a done deal. But I have also seen enough Home Life games to know that if Peanut hasn't died yet and Zeus has only died twice, but he's still up 1,000 gold, that's not the right timeline. And I know a lot about...
also like a Zeus Kennen game. Like, he struggles to lose.
I know a lot about timelines, okay? Time loop time. That's one of my favorite types of media.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the one. I think we had to make some different choices.
Maybe we could just separate ourselves into a different dimension. One that has made slightly different choices.
Okay, I think multiverse, that's like kind of... I know it's adjacent, but I feel like it's not quite the same.
Really? All right. Well, Bulldog is going to look for something. Doesn't really find an angle here. A soul point on the table for HLE. There is the exit of the jungler, though. So Peanut going to make this not a 50-50. This is, in fact, a let's just leave type scenario for DNF. And they do get the memo that that's precisely what they should do. But that is still going to be soul point going over to HLE. And if this is a sign of things to come when it comes to the objectives, DNF not going to really have too many options.
So Viper also doesn't use the Cloud Soul very well. Everyone else, though, pretty good. And
hey, it does mean, no. If you spot someone coming out on a flank and you cancel your ulti, you run away really fast. Well, it's actually kind of useful.
It's better. Well,
it's the same as MF.
Yeah, okay, so technically that is true, but I feel like...
Because Cloud Soul works in a really cool way, because it activates after a channeled ability, not as you activate it, right? So Malzahar gets to run away quickly after his thing. So it's cool.
Yeah, Atlas, I know you're the #1 Cloud Soul salesman, but I think we just focus on the fact that Kennen and Rel are the team. If
you got to only choose one... Dudu's dead, by the way, guys. He just wasn't actually able to do anything and then died. I don't think that really... We didn't need to talk too much about it.
No. So you were saying?
So I was saying that even if it was just on the Kennen, that would be powerful enough. Cloud Soul on Kennen is so broken. As Peanut finds just a small sliver of wall, and that is going to get both summoner spells out of Berserker. Like, right on the edge. That wall was broken as well. It was broken just a little bit further up. He may not have had to use the flash.
I know the game isn't done.
Well,
but I also... Atlas.
Sorry.
Well,
yes, you're right.
We're trying to keep the 6-game dream alive, okay? Yeah, your birthday was a mulligan. That one doesn't count.
Yep.
4 out of 5 days, 6 out of 6.
It's pretty good.
We gotta avoid the dreaded 5-gamer. Because if it's a 4-0, I think it's still bait.
Yeah, no. We're just hoping it's not cringe. And the only way it can be cringe is 5, yeah.
And hey, if T1 Gen G doesn't go the free, I'll be very sad.
Honestly, if this is a 2-0 though, and then we get a 3-gamer for T1 Gen G, pretty sure that's not cringe.
No, because it's 5. That supersedes however...
Oh, no, wait. Does it just cringe anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
We went through this in 2023 Challengers.
No, but that was 8 versus 9. You know, that's cringe. But 5 versus 6?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not the graph.
All right, the graph has come up. It's a bad news story. Although it's a much earlier Infinity Edge for Berserker, he is still relatively powerful.
Oh, shit, come on. You can do this.
Yeah, there is a very scary cannon off on a flank angle as 3.5k is approaching on the Baron. HLE looking for the turn, not wanting to make this a 50-50 unless Peanut just evicts Pioshik from the area. And the ulti going to miss this time around. HLE gonna get engaged on. Great Pop Blossom there from Life as the bullet time comes in. The steal from Pyosik as well, as Peanut will be taken down as the first kill, and HLE are just scattering. Bulldog will not find the charm, and Pyosik will not find anyone. Magnustorm is going to connect us now. Zeus just eviscerates Berserker in the back line. Delight and Zeus just saving this team fight by themselves, while Viper is taking the rest of them for a walk. Yeah, the teleport gonna come in as Zeus looking to make his way forward. They sacrifice Viper as once again, yeah, playing for utility, ladies and gentlemen. They're looking to complete the ace as Delight wanting to hold them in position. Pyosik going to say no to the pentakill, but yes to the ace, as comically so many of these buttons go wide, and Zeka will be able to pick that one up. So no more Barons left here for DNF.
I respect it, Pyosik. A teammate can give a penta.
Yeah.
As an opponent, no. It needs to be
it's
earned.
all about denial. You
have to earn it. As we take another look here, this is a good initial setup here, because even though Humble Life are very, very hesitant, at some point, because they kept the Baron around 4K, at some point it gets too low, so Berserker can just channel his ult, and then you are going to be favored to smite if you're Pyosik because of the Q. This turn, though, from Delight and Zeus.
Delight and Zeus planned that the whole time. Yes. As soon as everything went wrong, they were like, no, we killed them.
And Viper then tries to redo his great run, you know, the one for the enemy base where he ran for...
Yep.
This time he does get caught, but
he doesn't have the cinders, though, you know?
Yeah, well, he's not quite speedy enough, but who cares? They still win the fight. As here, Zeka, I know you want to give the Penta, Zeka. I get it.
Like you can hit him.
But you should have... Zeka's just like...
You're not going to one-shot him with a Sand Soldier, man.
I didn't notice the first time, but see, this is like... Yeah, definitely. You know, when you're so nice that you're like, oh, no, you take the Penta.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then they get away.
And cost him the Penta. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's not great. Anyway, they do manage to get the ace. No more Barons left. The Rebel Baron power play, something that we're not even able to talk about, really, in this one, as some curtains are being called here. And Bulldog will answer by not getting hit by any of them. This is Cloud Soul, ladies and gentlemen. HLE going to be real speedy on this one. The flank angle kind of scary as Peanut zoning with the ult and picks up the dragon.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Zeus, not even on a flank angle here. Speaking of flanks
as well.
Okay, Pyosik looking for an opportunity. They want to dive onto Viper yet again, but look at this. HLE, they just regroup, get back into position, and they're not going to be taking him down this time. Dudu, he might be the one that's in trouble, though. Out of the mist and out of options, and that is Zeka that's going to lock him down. Zeus looking for more as well, as Berserker needing to run away. The Mark of the Storm is on him, and Zeus will be following him up. There's the flash, and there's also the Deadly Flourish from Viper, perfectly aimed. That's a very dead MF. Yeah, that's some Cloud Soul value for you. Perfect example. I actually really hope that the space doesn't actually break down the series. They just break down how good Cloud Soul is.
On every, they're gonna like show if Viper had Cloud Soul in his previous setup where he died, he would have actually lived.
Exactly. Imagine if Berserker like wasn't against Cloud Soul when he was trying to run away there. Maybe Strut was going to be enough.
It is such a crazy thing to me, because even with the Cloud Soul, looking at the gold, DN Freaks have been remarkably close throughout the entire.
Yeah, it's not even a 3,000 gold lead even now,
and all the gold is on Zeus.
Yep.
So if Zeus missteps once and you blow him up, that's the gold lead basically gone.
Yeah, or he gets a pentakill, which is almost what happened. It's, yeah, I think the DN Freaks, they have a win condition now. It is kill Zeus, never let him do anything in this game again.
He does have...
he's got an arm guard and 3 other items.
That does make it hard.
Yeah, I never said it was going to be an easy task. I just said that that's the task.
No one said it was easy.
Nope. And all good things, you know, all things worth doing are difficult, you know?
No, I was trying to do the Coldplay song. Nobody said it was easy, but I can't think of the next line.
Yeah, I only know Yellow. And that one about time.
Yeah, I think this is...
No, it's about watches.
Clocks? Yeah, clocks.
Ah, clocks, yeah, that's...
Wait, you know the scientist though, right? That's the...
I know a few of them. Who's your favorite?
I don't have a favorite.
Are you a Galileo guy? I feel like he doesn't get enough recognition. as he was also a bit of a philosopher. As we've got a inhibitor turret taken down here, and the inhibitor soon to follow. Delight, will he find an angle? There's the flash forward. You could tell he was looking for it as Bulldog just going to burn down. Zeus will find another double kill. Let's see whether this time the Penta is... Never mind, it's not happening. Viper just says goodnight to life, and in fact, Zeus is dead, but he is still going to get the last laugh as the crash down on top of Dudu slammed into his own Nexus, and Pioshik just going to have to watch as, never mind, he might just die. Is Zeka going to go golden, making him look a little bit silly at the end of this one. Flashes away, and there it is. The ace is completed, and HLE will find this Game 1 victory, even though it looked like the gold was close throughout the entirety of this game. It felt like things were just slipping out of the grasp of the DN Freaks from quite early on in this one, and HLE will do it in Game 1.
You pick Gwen away against Homa Life. He picks Cannon, you lose. You try to pick Jace against Homa Life. Guess what happens? He picks Nidalee,
and you lose.
You lose.
Or he picks Cannon and you lose.
Yeah. You don't pick Jace. He picks Jace. And guess what?
Wait. KT won.
Yeah, okay.
See? Let him have Jace. Why ban Jace? That's the win condition. Oh, DN Freaks. It's okay. They get to move to blue side in game number 2. The dream isn't dead, Chronicler. The dream is not dead.
Really, realistically, I know that the DN Freaks obviously are still not in the best spot after they just go down to 0-1. This is still the Freaks that we've seen like the last 2 weeks though, where they had the great... Yeah, there is a very clear issue in this game.
Yeah. Zeus did almost as much damage as, like, he did more than both of the solo laners combined.
Yeah, you can, no, not just that, you can throw the AD carry there as well, Atlas.
Yeah, well, not quite. Not quite that much.
I think, no.
No, it was about even with all of the carries outside of Pioshik, I guess. Yeah, it was a rough game here for the DN Freaks, and once again, the Lord of Thunder himself demonstrates why he is named as such. It is time for us to go to a short break. When we get back, the Space is going to break that one down, see if we can find some copium for the DN Freaks, and then we'll have game number 2. We'll see you soon.
압박 줄게. 이거 공각 안 나와. 여기 살짝 볼게. 여기 간대. 아리 노플, 아리 잡았어. 니코 잡았고. 니코. 왜 물 사람? 그렇지. 여기 봐줘. W 남고. 나 파울. 안태는 파티션 좋다. 파워할게. 파티 프리다. 여기 봐줘. 내 스테락이야. 듣기 싫어. 닦고. 닦고 1초.
I feel like I'd have to.
We can do that if you want to. I don't think you should.
Oh, okay.
Because so I think the second
Maybe
one,
that's why I had some struggle.
I think the second one is universally agreed upon to be better. I really liked some of the emotional because
I'm being told in the prompter that I don't need to.
No.
I mean, to go back and watch
that's what I'm saying. The first one is a lot more rough, and some of the emotional arcs work better because they take more time. But the pacing and the show as a whole, I think, is worse.
All right.
So I would just watch Brotherhood.
All right, well, we'll just have to see whether I do manage to do that. First, though, we've got a game number 2 to commentate here, as the draft has already unfolded somewhat as far as the bans are concerned. The Yone, the Nidalee, and the Jace already taken away here.
That's 2 of the problems.
There we go.
Taken
Sion
away.
first pick. Let's do it. What are you going to do now, Zez? There's only hundreds of other champions that you could... well, never mind. It's not hundreds. There is over 100 other champions available. Volibear is obviously the option.
I wouldn't mind. I've seen some Volibear starting to pop up. We're not going to pick it here, I don't think. Kalista, open, Poppy.
Oh, Kalista,
Talia,
Renata, unanswerable.
banned. Well, you can hold off on the Renata until you know what they're playing, right? Because maybe if they pick Renata, you can... Well, Nico's gone, but you can go for something that doesn't quite... Gets boomed as hard as the Trundle. We've been seeing a lot of... It's good into Kalista. It's good into any AD matchup. I don't think it's likely Zeus is going to pick a tank, so you'll lose a little bit of value on your ultimate.
You also have, like, not a lot of damage if you're picking it alongside a Sion. As Renata, the pick away here. Varus Renata, a fair bit of power there towards the bottom side of the map, and you deny the Kalista Renata, which has been very powerful. Zeka just thinking about locking away a mid lane champ.
I was kind of expecting him to maybe go for something like the Alistair.
Yep.
For Delight, I'm kind of wondering, does Delight want to go towards like...
I actually like it because I feel like you then just have to ban Rakan Alistair if you're on the side of the DN Freaks, and it does really...
Like,
oh, never mind. Where's Sorakaring?
Yeah, you know what
I literally just had a banana. If you can put up the cast desk, I just had a banana. I've got proof right here. I could tell.
There you go.
I could tell. See, that's my former banana. Now just a banana peel that I'm not going to place on the ground. We know that they're very dangerous.
We knew it had to be something kind of crazy, because if you pick something like Nautilus, you're basically just hard counter or self-hard countering. I was thinking like maybe Fresh Kalista. You know, they used to be one of the classic combos. That's something you could do. Blitz, but no, it's the Soraka here for Delight. I do worry a little what it means for Humble Life, because I do think that the reason why they've been so consistent in fights is because they have Delight, who's possibly the best engaged.
Wait, now you've got engaged Soraka.
Yes, that's what you want.
Because he's got Fate's Call. You can just engage with the Fate's Call.
In, but we definitely don't want to... That we'll see it, but that's not really...
Do you know that if you're playing Mario Kart, most of the time the bananas go behind you, but if you hold up on the joystick... I know,
you can throw them in front of you.
You can throw them in front of you. That's actually a thing that you can do. So that might be the tech that Viper is looking to exploit.
It's the banana in front of you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, well, we're definitely, hopefully not going to see that as a main form of engage, but we'll see. Maybe
might be one.
Life thinks otherwise. Does mean that if we don't get an alternative source of engage, Humble Life is going to be somewhat reliant on finding pick angles with this.
Ambessa Aatrox going to be taken away here, as we're doing our best to protect Dudu at all costs.
Like Camille, maybe? You're definitely picking the top laner here.
Well, Vladimir could be an option.
So Vladimir makes a ton of sense when you think about getting the Vladimir to be as strong as possible, as soon as possible.
Sir, can I interest you in an Oblivion Orb?
Well, yes, but
I feel like the amount
Soraka,
of anti-heal
the value
here is absurd.
Okay, but I don't actually think Humble Life, now that we have this comp, unless they get something that kind of pulls it together, aren't you just playing for 1-4 or 1-3-1, and you just... Because no one is going to be able to answer Zeus. It's just not happening. Like, as Victor against Vlad later on, you just get...
Yeah, ran around.
That's
a Belveth. That's kind of fun, right?
I guess. I'm not...
I mean, I don't know if it's like gonna win or it's good, but it's fun.
What else would you go? Like Wukong?
Yeah, Wukong would be like your more standard option. And that is what they're gonna opt for. This is a bit more tier listy. As big grin on Pioshik's face, I think he was very much considering the Belveth angle, but decided to instead go to more something that was going to work.
Like, do you pick like Silas here? Galio? Yeah, so Galio was what I was thinking to kind of solve the issue.
I mean, it is going to be a lot of...
it's just...
A lot of magic damage.
So
I guess they've got Kalista.
So that, you know, they have Kalista's in, right? But it's more so... I'm just looking at the Hanwha comp, and I'm kind of wondering, like, you're playing almost a full melee comp into Renata, Wukong, and Victor.
Yeah.
I'm just... There are parts of this that I really like, right? Like that core-free unit of Xin Zhao, Galio, Kalista. That looks like a great skirmish comp, where you can play aggressively early, right? You have a lot of CC, you have a lot of explosiveness. Then Vladimir obviously just wants to play for either team fights or side lane threat, depending on what build you go, depending on what the game state is. But he can be really good in both those, but Vladimir does struggle with getting kited. And then you have Soraka, who kind of generally wants to play more of... You can obviously... You have a really strong laning phase, which should help a lot.
Yep.
But you generally want to play fights kiting back. But you get outranged, because it's probably going to be Lethality, Varus, and Victor. So you are the one that needs to start the fights. I like the individual matchups. I just struggle to see how it comes together for Hanwha. And that's not something I often say.
I do feel like you can play 4-1 really effectively, like you mentioned a little bit earlier. I think that the amount of pressure that they can put on with Vlad in a side lane will be difficult to deal with, especially when DNF have just put themselves together a pretty stock standard 5v5 team fighting composition. You know, you've got a frontline tank, you've got ways of engaging and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know whether it's necessarily going to work, especially when Humble Life Esports are the team that has, you know, a little bit more winning under their belt.
They do.
So getting things in line should be possible here for the squad. But the DM Freaks, they have blue side. Let's see whether they can bring us to 3 games.
소환사에 합격해 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the rift for the second game. The DN Freaks looking to see whether they can extend the series, take a game off HLE. And Life is going to take a little bit of damage as the Wind of War do go down, but not too much more. Just some Starfalls here for Delight. Do you remember when Soraka used to just walk around and press Q and it would just hit anything? I remember watching LS's stream.
But not enjoy.
Watching LS's stream about 8 to 10 years ago, where he was the guy that would just play Soraka mid lane.
That just reminds me of eras of League where obviously my core example is always Sion, AP Sion, you know, with the shield.
Yep.
At the point that was the point and click stun, right?
Yep.
You used to have that, yeah.
That was the only button he had.
Yeah, and then...
oh, then you got a Lich Bane, so your right click was also kind of button.
Remember a Corrupting Pot, and then you went all Pantheon, and you just pressed your Corrupting Pot, and you would press Q on them like 3 times.
You remember Red Pot Rengar, dude?
I remember Red Pot Riven.
Or Red Pot Tiger Stance Udyr.
Oh, God.
That was the reason Trick 2G was, like, so popular.
And I don't like doing this to myself, but you think anyone watching right now watched any of them?
No idea. But, I mean, some LS lore came out, so that's kind of cool. People like that sometimes.
Also, there will be some old heads out there. I know there are.
Oh, yeah.
That were there, and they're like, yep, I remember back in my day.
Uh-huh.
They know.
There was definitely some forbidden tech that was pretty ridiculous. You remember the old, like, the best Vladimir build back in the day?
What, DFG?
No, 6 revolvers.
Oh. What was it called? Will of the Ancients?
Yeah, Will of the Ancients.
That was a Vladimir item.
Yeah, you had to, like, I remember after they made it unique so that you couldn't just stack a million, you know, lifesteal, or what was it, Omnivamp. Yeah, you'd have to build Will of the Ancients and then an extra revolver.
Wasn't that when Spellvamp was still?
Yeah, Spellvamp, but that's the one. Which is basically Omnivamp. It's kind of like the same thing. Because you only really did spell damage anyway. As Viper and Delight, as you'd understand, are going to have this lane pushed up.
Yeah,
Soraka old tech into the Renata.
Yeah, trying to play Renata into not engaged supports is just generally a really unfun experience. Because you don't actually have the trading potential. Your bailout doesn't quite get you the value in this type of scenarios where there isn't an all-in. You know, it's okay, but for giving some extra damage over, but it's just not enough. And
oh,
like, yeah, this
the
one thing,
snare
like,
actually connects, and the Ren not quite enough, but still, they needed that barrier.
You guaranteed get whittled down, because as long as the Light doesn't just randomly spam his abilities, you are going to get out-sustained very, very badly.
Yep.
But then if you ever misstep and you get caught by a snare, you also just lose all your life.
Yeah, or at least just your life,
no.
and because life is now not there. You can see Berserker, he's going to back away. I said barrier, I meant Guardian. That did save him there.
I do kind of wish Berserker went for lethality in this setup.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I actually expected it to happen. And maybe that's why the Belveth was being hovered, because they were like, oh, consistent AD, that could potentially be Belveth, and then we can go lethality. But in the end, they decided that this was the way. I'm not entirely sure. Is Viper going to get flashed on here? Does flash away. Life potentially an overextension, but is just going to walk back to the wave. As Pioshik turns up, they have a lot of vision in this area. You can see HLE not going to overextend, especially with no blue stuff on Viper. Dudu getting down low. The Crimson Rush going to be there pretty soon for Zeus. He will find it, but not going to be enough damage just yet. Level 6 almost to be gained for the Vladimir. As Dudu not having a great time, although even in farm before this wave crashes.
Yeah, this is about as fun as the matchup gets, though. Once Vladimir actually starts stacking ability haste and he gets closer to level 9 on his Q.
Is it sort of like a Nasus feeling?
Yes, where you're like, oh man.
Yeah, this is fine.
This is kind of okay, not great, but I guess I'm okay. Because Science base values are pretty aggressive early, right? There's a reason why we always meme, but you can actually get solo kills on Cyan if your opponent missteps.
We've seen it.
We've seen it even in the LCK, surprising amount. But yeah, I think Zeus is just living his best life. Just trying to get to 2 items as soon as humanly possible.
Yep, does make it to level 6 as well, so that Hemoplague is up and available. And Dudu just doing his best to be able to pick up. Why is it that Vladimir is one of the champions where I remember every single button name? Super weird.
I don't know. Do you just like Vladimir? Was there like an iconic...
Not really. For some reason, that's just like in my brain. You know, Transfusion, that when you get the 2 stacks, it's Crimson Rush, the Sanguine Pool, Tides of Blood, Hemoplague. Don't know what his passive is, but it's probably Hemomancy or something like that. I don't know. It's just weird. Some of them stick.
It might also be because it's a really old champion.
That's true.
And I feel like it used to be a much bigger thing because
and then you like learn all of the ability names and they change them all. Like
well, like Grand Sky, Starfall.
Oh no,
we all know.
It's a problem. Anyway, Peanut is coming on over. He will find a control ward. Speaking of the Tides of Blood, they do come out. So this is a little worse for wear here as Dudu playing up in this lane. Gonna get the crash in onto Peanut, who does walk his way out. Still, trade of ultimates, nothing really to worry about.
He was never really at risk of dying there. Having used the ultimate is also fine. Peanut also takes a decent amount of damage, actually. Pioshik is still full health. But no prio, as we do see Pioshik should be... the reason why Wukong, I think, is actually surprisingly solid is because the Q, right? Kind of keeping Peanut down, and then also the armor that you stack with your passive, but you also still...
It's sort of like a more aggressive Trundle. You know, Trundle is the same thing, very good at fighting against AD champs.
Trundle, to me, is a lot more niche in when he's good, but I do think when there's a good Trundle angle, he goes really hard.
He does go really hard. Kind of like yesterday when you can convince your opponent to pick Ornn into it.
Yeah.
Still possible.
Yeah, if like you pick Trundle and then they pick Xayah and Ornn, and you're like, well, I don't know why he would do that, but thank you, I guess.
Yep. Viper is now trying to bounce away from Berserker. There are a lot of sticks in this guy, as the bailout just perfectly timed, and Berserker will be able to grab the duo kill up against Viper here. Felt like it was close, but in the end it was not, and Delight unable to actually keep Viper alive.
That is why we go the on-hit variety, I guess.
Yeah, just walk at him.
Walks up. Viper misjudging, I guess, the bailout as we've taken out a look here. Is it life?
It was right on the end of the bailout, is what it felt like.
As we see here, the healing not enough, and can't outplay the bailout if you're that low. If the Light has his ultimate, I think Viper actually gets out. If he still has his flash, he might get out. So that is a run-of event, a run-of play being
it's just gonna
from life, right?
It's gonna help reinforce the DN Freaks 8-minute stats. Because as you can see here, once again, it is an 8-minute gold lead. They are really living up to their reputation of laning well, playing out the early game well. They've got decent plans that are in place. It's just navigating the rest of the game that has seemed difficult for this squad. As Peanut going to be taking the remaining 2 grubs here. And Pioshik already with one of them. So no huge advantage to be gained, but it is going to be 2 objectives as far as the feats of strength are concerned for HLE. And back to business here towards the top side of the map as Viper will be getting some of that health back here from Delight. Going to put on that pressure where they can, but the DN Freaks probably pretty happy with where the game is sitting right now, especially from this top side bottom lane perspective. Top side bottom lane, it's confusing, but you know, the champs are seen on your screen right now.
Big advantage for, or relatively for Humble Life, is that as Life does in fact pick up the Oblivion Orb very early, which we do love, is the ult.
Oh, Chains of Corruption going to get flashed here. A lot of respect from Viper. Delight does heal him back up again, but this is a great look from the DN Freaks, especially from this bottom lane as Berserker. He has been a linchpin for this squad. Remember, I mean, we were memeing about it a little bit, but in the games that the DN Freaks win, Berserker doesn't die. That's how that works. He is very, very important to this squad.
What is remarkable is Viper, you go barrier because of the lane, right? Like that's the main reason, as I know which VODs Dudu has been watching.
Yeah, he is going to pick up some turret shots, but oh, drifting gloriously. What was that? He ping-ponged off the wall. That was very confusing, but I think probably just a little bit of a glitch in the matrix here as far as our spectator client is concerned. He gets over there and manages to just go back home.
I think he could have gone for one more wave. I think leaving there is a little bit cowardly. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man.
No, just one more wave. It's fine. If you die, it's worth it. We're for the tempo, Atlas.
Yeah, no, that's that must be it. All right. HLE gonna come on over. Yeah. We'll see what, maybe we can get a show match. We can talk to Lost Returns about maybe coming over to Korea and playing off against the DN Freaks.
And then we can just have Brendan Veldas and Oaks cast and just say drift, what's drift for the entire broadcast. That's just
In fact, we don't even need them to cast. We can actually just get the track.
We can soundboard it.
Yeah. And actually, we could get a DJ to just play an LCK soundboard over the top instead of there being commentary. No, actually, then maybe that'd be too good, and then we'll lose our jobs forever.
No, I think that should be us, and we can just press buttons.
Oh, yeah.
And we will think it's funny, and everyone will get very sick of it very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds fantastic. Arcane Storm here into the mid lane, as Zeka is going to trip over the gravity field just momentarily, but otherwise it's going to be A-OK. Oh, man, we got to make this happen. Maybe we should talk to Kadril. Kadril, if you're listening, let us know whether that's going to be a possibility.
Surely.
Because I kind of just want to see it. Just, like, curiosity.
Who's the best drifter in the LCK?
Yeah.
And then Baus is the judge.
I think Baus is probably just better than anyone that we've seen.
Well, I don't think
we haven't seen a lot of great.
Well, we should have him compete, right? We should just have only top laners, and then I guess Lahens just for reasons.
I just want to see like a 5v5, just DNF versus Lost Returns. I think it's fine. I mean, I do want an excuse to like hang out with Nemesis again because that guy's really cool. You know,
that was my favorite part of the T1 Genji memes when we had all the openings, and then we had the one with Nemesis, the one with Atlas with wig, the one with Lore.
Yeah, he had to put up with me with no hair.
Well, you're always annoying. I don't think the hair makes a difference.
It made it worse, though. Could you imagine? You don't have to imagine. You're pretty good at it. All right, sound off. We'll see whether we can maybe get like a poll or something like that. Maybe we can sponsor it. We'll figure out a way.
Is this another one of those games where we have fun and then all of a sudden it's over?
Well,
no, it's definitely, I actually think, I like the Infix comp more. Yeah. I think that the Humble Life comp for me, I'm happy to be convinced and see how I'm wrong, because maybe Pioshik is just going to go super deep for no reason, and then Dudu's going to follow. And then if Humble Life kites back, I think this comp actually does wonders, right? You have a lot of space you can create with the Zinzao, you have the CC and the safety from Zeka. In the long fight, you always win because you have Soraka. So we'll see. I'm happy to be convinced and be wrong. But right now, the only thing I'm certain about is that Zeus will become eventually, what's that guy? Exodia? By himself?
Yeah, this is the problem, yeah.
Or Thanos, or whichever is your preferred bad guy.
Yeah, he can snap his fingers or whatever. I like the Yu-Gi-Oh reference. I think Exodia is the way. As Bulldog is going to move on over here, Zeka is going to find him, throwing some justice via a punch into him. Pioshik's still just getting to work on this Infernal Drake, though, as Peanut is going to come on over. This will be the fight starting. Chains of Corruption down as they are targeting the Soraka, but the Fate's Call going to be there. The Wish just in time to get Peanut out of danger. And now the taunt comes through. Justice Punch, gorgeous from Zeka, and a double kill for Zeus. This is exactly what the DN Freaks could not afford to happen. And my God, I could say that this is probably the best composition to have when a Chemtech Soul is revealed, HLE couldn't have manufactured a better outcome. Outside of maybe Viper not getting hit by that Q.
Why did we take a 4v5 DNF? What happened? I actually don't know what. I actually don't know what happened.
What if they just won?
Well, but you're not gonna win because they're a member up, and now Vladimir is 2-0.
Yeah, no, it's not good. I was just posing the question, just to, like someone had to ask it.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the replay, because you can't be backing and then TPing with the slow TP. Okay, 4v5, 4v5. Pioshik dies. Okay, ult from life. Berserker can't approach because he doesn't have a front line. 4v5, 4v5. The fight is lost. Dudu's here. Well, what do you mean?
Yeah, no, what do I mean?
What do they mean?
Yeah, I think what do they mean? Well, they meant maybe they thought the Scion was going to come early.
Either Pioshik needs to chill out and not go in, or Dudu needs to make sure that he's just TP. I'm sure you were going for your item finish. You could just be there, use your shield, use your passive, die. As long as Berserker can play the game. But you're one strong member. But he needs a front line. You want a front to back. We had everyone everywhere.
All
oh, DNF. I'm mad.
Yeah, well, Dudu and Zeka are doing battle down here, okay? Whilst you're molding, we've got a very serious fight on our hands. And Zeka is going to move out of the way. The DN Freaks will be able to collect themselves the Rift Herald. HLE a little bit late to this play. As Delight wanting to throw some bananas around and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that second item on Vlad is...
yeah, it's coming in hot.
It's pretty accelerated, Atlas.
Yeah. And he's got the Riftmaker. This is, you know, the one that he really needs.
Yeah, he went Conqueror as well. So, like, in a long side lane.
Yeah. Or in a long team fight as well. It's not like this is going to really hinder him if he wants to be a bit more of a team fighting Vladimir as well.
DNF, we had one. You just needed to win one game.
Yeah.
Just one game.
And it has to be this one. It's not like you can win game 3 after losing games 1 and 2.
That's
not how that works. You're just canceling game 3. That's all we wanted. You could have done whatever you like. And HLE, they have a composition that is quite confusing. And now something that could have been dealt with. But now it's going to be much more difficult. Well, I mean, we're saying much more difficult. It's only like 600 gold. But HLE, like, they're 2 Drakes away from Soul. And it's the Vladimir that we're looking at as a bit of an inevitable situation.
It's the underlying concepts, Atlas, of just taking a 4v5.
I hate underlying concepts.
For no reason. Well, now
you prefer far more obvious concepts.
DNF, you've brought out Satless. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah. Satless. And it's Sunday. It's as far away from Satless as possible as far as the Saturday version. So it has to be Sadless.
Wait, you have Sadless?
Yeah, you have to word fuse a little bit extra in order to get to Sadless.
So you have Sadless, and you also have Sadless.
Is that Satellite Atlas?
I don't know, man.
I don't know what's happening.
What is Satellite Atlas?
Atlas technically is a satellite. Because Atlas is a moon around.
Yeah, they're also a game developer. It's not really relevant for the conversation at hand, right?
I was named after a moon, okay? So I'm already a satellite.
Well, you named yourself after the moon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
nice.
Barry.
Thanks, Barry.
Yeah, my mate Barry helped me out because I wasn't allowed to have my original name. You can check out the lore on the Pog State. I believe we go into it just a little bit. Maybe that bit was cancelled. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, my name used to be Slappy Baggins. Anyway, DN Freaks now just looking to see whether they can set up for a contest around this dragon. 50 seconds until it's back up and available. HLE have been extending their lead just a little bit since that happened, and also picking up petals. We didn't see that other petal go down, but I believe Peanut will be able to get there and collect it.
So what is...
See that it's gone on the minimap.
What is your favorite Lord of the Rings movie, then?
My favorite Lord of the Rings movie?
Well, because it's Baggins, right? Like.
Yeah. My favorite Lord of the Rings movie is probably The Two Towers.
I never hear anyone whose favorite is The Two Towers.
I don't know. Christopher Lee is just incredible.
He is, yeah.
I really did just...
I'm a Return of the King guy. You know, that's kind of boring, but...
Also, the extended version of Two Towers is probably the best extended edition.
Oh, because it has... Yeah, no, it has a ton of extra...
Yeah. And, like, Merry and Pippin hanging out in Isengard together. It's just really, really fun. As Viper is hopping around. Dude, takes a lot.
We get a redo. We're barely behind. Okay, Vlad doesn't have 2 items yet. Berserker still strong. You can do this, DNF. You can bring us to that game 6. I believe in you. Pioshik, they don't know you're there.
All right, well, Pyosik is going to be discovered, but now the value of the Galio comes in. The Wukong able to get out those Warrior Trickster comes on through, and now there is a Hemomancer in amongst everyone. Dudu trying to be that frontline as Delight just gets in there with a massive knockup. Viper having to flash away as the huge taunt comes through from Zeka. Being an absolute hero, there is going to be Zeus going down. That's a raid boss removed, as I've seen this movie before, and it is going to be both of them dying. This time around, Delight almost able to save his AD carry. A 2 for 3, though, should mean that Soul Point still goes over to HLE.
And even despite the Delight ambulance, Berserker and Viper trade 1 for 1, but it's Pina that's alive, Pyosik that's not. As Pyosik, if you go in just a second earlier, I actually think with the stealth you can make that work, right? Like they might be able to catch them off guard, get on top of the backline, but instead so much has to be invested just to try and keep this monkey alive, and then Zeus goes in pretty deep, but it ends up being okay. But this fight position isn't great from Halma, right? They're fighting to a choke.
And the Hemo Plague didn't really get too much amplification.
Yeah, there wasn't too much follow-up. But then they do actually get Zeus. He does go down because he goes back in after using his flash, which felt unnecessary. And then here, if Alive actually can keep alive Berserker there, I think that means that they get the Dragon. Instead, it's still Soul Point. It's still not the best fight, but DNF fought their way back out of what I thought was a lost fight and a really rough situation there. So still in the game.
Yeah. Still Soul Point.
Yes.
And Chemtech Soul, we often meme about, you know, we're often like Orc, Susja, all that sort of stuff. But this time around, it's Vladimir Soraka.
Even Galio and Xin Zhao.
Yeah, Galio and Xin Zhao as well. I mean, Viper's got like some stuff that's going to help out there at the same time. Like it's just not a good place to be for DNF if they give over this soul. It's probably the best one for this composition.
That was so funny because Dudu board to Adakon, and it was like, attack Zeus, and Zeus cleared the board, and Adakon was like, no, you yelled at me. I'm gonna attack you. What are you trying to do? Still mad, by the way.
Yeah, he's very frustrated. It does finally go back, as it looked like Dudu didn't even notice that was happening. So Cosmic Drive is done here for Zeus, so he does have those 2 items completed.
He is also 3-1. I think
when Magic Pen comes in, Zeus will be immovable.
So I'm kind of expecting him to just go Death Cap.
All right.
Death Cap third. I think you get you really need the AP, and the extra value you get on your Riftmaker ain't bad either. It does mean that you're not going to be able to kill Dudu nearly as nicely, right? Because you're not going to be able to cut through him quite as efficiently. But you also don't care about his damage at all. And,
that's true. So you just take a bit of extra time.
Yeah, and then everyone else will die if you look at them, because you have Death Cap. So we'll see. Maybe he goes for like Criploom first, especially if.
I wouldn't mind Criploom with the potential Chemtech Soul.
Oh yeah.
Sounds valuable.
With Conqueror and just being Vlad and Riftmaker, right? Doing damage is also more healing, so we'll see.
Well, this is a full commitment to the Adakon.
Zeka just TP'd to top.
He did. He does have the heroic entrance, but he is a long way away. He's out of range for now. Let's see what can actually occur from this one. It's down to 3,000. Peanut could get in for a potential steal, but it's not going to happen. Arcane Storm now just zoning them away, and HLE just going to have to exit. Crimson Rushman is doing a whole lot of work here in this matchup on the bottom side, but Dudu is starting to feel better about it. There's just so much health bar to get through.
It's bait. Don't trust it, Dudu. Well, there's even the ultimate. That was such a good call from DNF. Yeah. I'm kind of flabbergasted. I think as
bit of a misplay from Zeka more than anything, right?
Well, I think it literally was, as soon as Zeka TP to top, Bulldog TP down.
Just really good heads up understanding of what you're allowed to do on the map, what you're able to take away, as Viper hopping around looking for Pyosik here as the slows are mounting. He does get himself out.
Oh, Berserker did ghost. Walked it off. Getting the objective is nice, getting Adakon is solid, but it's not going to make us suddenly believe.
Yeah.
Don't need to see an actual team fight win, but credit what credit is due again. DNF, they've really cleaned up the mid game, because this was a team that would be ahead by like 1,000 gold, and then 5 to 10 minutes later they would be down 5,000 gold. very consistently.
Well, we're moving towards that because these turrets are just kind of...
It's 2. It's fun. Well, it's
it
two
is
and a half.
Yeah, and then if the top lane goes down, that one's ready to go. This
Yeah.
mid lane's also ready to go, so maybe that could be where some ground is going to be made up.
I'm doing a little bit of it's not that bad when it kind of is.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad.
Yeah, you're sort of like trying to convince your partner that this item at the antiques shop is worth purchasing when really it would have no use at all.
I am the partner that needs to be convinced, so I don't know how I got myself in this position.
Okay, never mind. Yeah.
And you're the partner that's trying to convince.
Oh, every time.
Every
yeah, I
time,
want
yeah,
as
of
much
course.
useless stuff as possible. And actually, it's sort of like, it does get confusing in our
Well,
dynamic.
it is really cool, because
Yeah.
that's how I end up with a great pair of inline skates.
That is
I just
true.
have.
I
now.
do just tend to, I tend to just make purchases because I think that might be a cool thing to do. And
Well,
I
again,
don't think about the need.
I'm happy, you know. They've been great. We've had a good
Yep,
time
we have.
skating together. It's been
Exactly,
fun.
there you go. As Zeka is going to be behind enemy lines momentarily, 10 seconds until the Chemtech Dragon is up and available. Pioshik probably wanted that health bar to be not empty, and is going to be able to knock away the Galio. The Baron has spawned right at the nick of time as Berserker will take out the outer turret in the mid lane. HLE a little bit out of position here, as that wave is going to go wanting. And now they get control over this area.
Oh, he's coming in early. Dudu knows.
Yep, teleport to come through. Flank angle there for Zeus at the same time, but this Dragon is very low. There are the knockups as Peanut comes on through, and the Justice Punch is good. It is going to be the Drake secured by Humble Life Esports. Is into the back line, goes Zeus. Hemo Plague explosion is gigantic, and Chemtech soul value is absurd. Viper able to utilize it as he cuts down the remainders, but he's the last man standing now. Pioshik and Dudu, can they deal with this Callista? That's the question as the Ren sets come in. The last remaining bit of damage is taken out
Oh, no!
as he's desperately trying to hop over this wall.
He accidentally
and he
hopped
just lets
over.
Dudu live.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, based on his movement, I'm pretty sure he didn't mean to do the one hop over the wall.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna spear back. That also didn't work.
Wait a second. Now it's the opportunity, as Roar the Slayer does come through, so I don't think
No,
it's happening.
there's Warden's Melt, there's Unending.
Yeah.
And also, killing Stein isn't really essential to the one play. This counter engage from DNF is actually kind of the dream. Zeka's ult really doesn't hit the mark. And Life preemptively ults, and then watch Zeus. Oh my god.
Yeah.
3-man ultimate. Berserker literally just gets popped like a balloon, and yes, Zeus dies eventually, but who cares? All the damage dealers are dead.
And then Viper can do whatever he wants.
Yep, especially with that Chemtech Soul. The barrier, and then, wait, watch. So this was great. This one, this hop. I think then after that he wanted to go back over.
Yeah, no, he failed to get back over the wall again.
Oh, that play there. So ult, flash, E.
Yep. And then you get like the E pull, so the Tides of Blood goes off as the Hemo Blade's popping. It's just kind of disgusting damage. And Nails, like, this is the thing. We saw the teleports coming in. The Dudu got there early. But the flank angle from Zeus, the deep vision that was available here from HLE to allow that to happen, absolutely essential to the play. So Zeus, 4, 2, and 3 now, does have Leandries. That's what he built second, so he does want to kill Dudu in a side
Oh,
lane.
I like that.
Yeah, kind of getting some value
There's
there.
a lot of health stackers on the enemy team, right? So we get a good amount of value there.
Yep, upgraded shoes as well. Look at this, everyone with the fancy kicks.
Zeus loves Swifties. That's the second game in a row.
Did you see there was like a Reddit post about like as soon as like anyone builds Swifties, you must build Swifties. The item's just kind of absurd.
It is, particularly this version of them, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just so good.
Yeah,
Vladimir,
upgraded Swifties were already one of the other ones. As Dudu, big ol' health bar. They do manage to get through his shield. Congrats. Starfall is going to connect, but not too much more. They're just trying to convince them that Baron is not somewhere that you're allowed to look at. Unless you've got a Scry's Orb. But that's only going to last for a couple of seconds before it's denied by the control vision that is available here for HLE. Viper having a great time. Does have his Terminus done. It's item parity between Viper and Berserker at the moment. It just feels like HLE have been able to utilize this just a little bit better outside of those great moments with the bailout. Life gonna have to make sure he is hitting that button at exactly the right time to make sure that Berserker is given the longest leash possible in these fights.
There is one rod for Zeus, level 16 now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Zeka is also doing like a fair bit of damage as well. Does have his arm guard now completed. Scalio getting some work done. Gold lead, not anything worth speaking about, right? It's more about the outcome of these fights, the Chemtech soul value. There's so many things that aren't explained by the gold.
You know what counters Chemtech Soul?
What's that?
You know what? It spawns too many.
Morella Nomicon. Oh.
Oh, Elder Flip.
Oh yeah, Elder Flip is pretty good at that. You
have to win.
do lose a lot of that zone
You have to win the Elder
Chemtech value. As all right, Peanut not able to quite find the avenue in here, but Berserker is also going to get taken towards that bailout very, very quickly. The Wish comes on through, and the Soraka very, very happy with having that extra healing available here. As HLE continue to push forward, Pioshik trying to stay stealthy, but he is going to be denied anything. And without Berserker, there is going to be no hope in any team fights. Zeus just wandering slowly away from the DN Freaks as HLE look towards the Baron.
Berserker dying with flash up there, making the call. I think we can kill him in the bailout. They couldn't.
No.
They really couldn't. And so it just ends up being a catch. No AD carry. And I think we're going to be cringe today, Atlas. That's what it's looking like.
It's looking pretty cringy.
As Berserker, yeah, here the call is made. We're not going to get him out, or I assume that's what it is. So instead, we're going to try and play. I think maybe an earlier ult could have made the difference there from Life. But
Dudu and Pioshik are going to try and kill Zeus here. That was a lot of health that he got back.
He has Chemtech Soul.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he was holding the pull as well.
He has Chemtech Soul.
And Viper is now over here. Pioshik is already dead. Zeka's teleporting in. It's a bit of a celebration here by the looks. Everyone wants to be around as the zombie pops up, and Dudu and Pioshik, absolutely nothing they could do. Chemtech Soul, Vladimir, level 18, 3.5 items. Just no. Like, you're not gonna do anything.
I'm just a little sad, Atlas. I'm taking a moment to
fair
accept
enough.
that what we wanted today might not happen.
Be taking a moment as well. Never mind. He made it to 50% health, where Immortality just decides that it wants to pop in. Level 16 now for the Xin Zhao.
And now they can turn that into a guaranteed play towards the Dragon.
Wow, I just saw an incredibly poignant comment in Twitch chat. It just said, Jeepers. I would 100% agree. Jeepers is the perfect way to describe what's going on here.
That is, because imagine you're just going about your day, you know?
Yeah.
You're a monkey, you're Wookiee, you're just living your best life.
Yeah, you're like, oh, 2v1, we got this. And then you're like, oh, Jeepers.
This horrifying bloodbender shows up, and you're like, we can take him out. And then he doesn't, and he turns into a puddle.
Elder Flip!
Well, is it really? I guess it is a flip.
It's a flip.
Yeah, no, Pioshik's here. They can win.
Unless Viper gets loads and loads of sticks in.
Atlas, no, it's fine. They're going to mistime it. It's really hard to actually do this well. They're going to flip.
Well, he's hopping around a lot. They managed to get the Baron from
the game call.
last
the game
time
call.
around. Is, oh, dearie me. Viper going to have to use everything to get himself out. He gets the Soraka out as well. As into the backline they go, and oh my god, they used him as bait! The entire time over the wall goes Peanut, and Pioshik just reeling after this one. He gets into the pit, but it's not going to work. And Viper, he didn't even make it to that 50% threshold. He just got himself out of there, took his Soraka with him, and allowed the Gargoyle and the Hemomancer to get that work done.
I'm pretty sure Zeus in that one fight did more damage than Berserker in the entirety of last game.
Oh, God.
He did like, if that was correct, like 9.3K. Yeah. That's more, right?
Yeah, I would say that that's more.
Oh,
but that's more than a lot of people do in a whole game. That's more than a support does in 4 games. In one team fight. Okay, HLE, a swift 2-0, an eclectic composition, but one that really does let us know that Chemtech Soul is often undervalued, because that was brutal. Life with a grin on his face, accepting defeat here. But man, that was a fun comp. I
liked it.
It was some cool League Legends. It just could have been a little more from DNF.
Is Peanut locked in yet? I wouldn't say so. However, Zeus has.
Yeah, Zeus really took that KT loss personally.
Yeah, understandably, it should come as no shock that he is my pump vote. Normally, I'd like to keep it a little bit up in the air, but this was...
No, it was not up in the air. It was up in the top lane.
Yeah, this was a no-brainer. Why? You could, you know...
No.
No. We're getting a VM cost Viper vote.
I mean, yeah, but it's still wrong whether we get it or not. It doesn't matter. We saw a few of the votes, you know. Some of those soup votes are really eyebrow-raising. It's kind of incredible. Viper having a great day, though. I have to admit, like he did die in the 2v2 earlier on, but watching him navigate team fights on the Kalista in late game fights is just really, really amazing.
Yeah, outside of that specific topside moment where he did die in the 2v2, Viper to me has been the most consistent member of this team by far. Right?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to peaks, you were always going to go towards Zeus. That's just kind of what he provides. But the consistency, the rock of the team, most certainly is a Viper. And on my life, actual quick 2-0, nothing to see. Or they even do a little shout out to Atlas there. I saw free maxes. Yeah, well, they said max 3 times. I think that's not.
Oh, that's nothing
just your
to
name.
do with me. Okay.
Oh, you didn't know that. Could be, but I don't think it is.
Yep, we did manage to get a little peek of where things were looking kind of okay for DNF, and then that stopped. As sometimes Vladimir just hits this spot, and it does remind you, doesn't it, like of the peak of Damwon, right, where it was like, who's gonna play it, Showmaker or Nuggery, and then who's going to just solo win you the game? Well, we get a bit of a taste of 2020 here with Zeus really making it work.
We're going to see these fragments again when it comes to the POM interview, I'm sure. I think that Zeus is, that Vladimir game. And it really highlights an issue because top has become, I think we talked about this a lot on the current patch, matchup has become a lot more important, right? So what if you have a top laner that either has the best counter picks or wins matchups if he gets the strongest picks? There's not really a good answer. And this is a problem that goes back to many teams that we've seen in the past, right? The Shy is a great example.
Look at
the same thing. Yeah, it's the GigaCon.
Just Viper gives them, does the whole bait thing, and then Fate's Call to keep them in the sky, but the Hemo Plague does 1 billion damage.
Yeah.
And they're all just on the floor in the blink of an eye. My goodness. Okay, there goes the Elder, and there is the game. And
I do like that they still take it, you know? They're like, you could have just left. No, I'll take it.
No, it's not about that. Zeus going to just wander over to these Nexus turrets, having a look at the players' faces here, feeling like another day at the office. Here for Hama Life Esports in game number 1, 37,000 damage on the Vladimir.
I still think DNF look better.
They do.
I stand by that. I obviously, as we have said many times, their round 1 and 2 is just kind of over. We knew that already.
And we also, like, this was their most difficult week ever. Like, if anyone gets the HLE Gen G matchups, I think you're like, you're phoning it in pretty immediately. I
do think, and this is also us reading into stuff, come on, guys.
That one was going to happen.
You can see it in how DNF, I think, kind of looked after the game as well. It is what it is, right? It's Humble Life. You're just going to take the L. And Zeus, Vladimir, and Cannon both are also champions that, besides having big circles of boom boom, are sometimes the right place to go in and die. And I think that in both of these games, he showcased exactly that, right? Yep. Sometimes just you have to press all your buttons in the right moment, and if you end up going down, it doesn't matter. Fight's won.
If you've taken the equivalent of your health bar ×4, then you've probably helped win the fight.
Good math.
Yeah, let's just say that as, oh man. Impressive stuff here from HLE, but not something that's unexpected, right? We've seen this so many times. They fumble against KT.
We knew.
And then they come back and they absolutely dominate in their next matchup. Time to hear from Zeus, though, so let's throw it over to the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. We are here with Zeus on the side of Hana Life Esports. Congratulations.
선수
Thank you.
오랜만에 POM으로 선정되면서 POM
It's been a while, but you secured a POM to reach 600 POM points. How do you feel?
지난번에 패배 되게 아쉽게 패배를 해가지고 오늘 꼭 이겨야겠다 생각했고요.
No, we had a really
오랜만에
regretful
또 POM
defeat
받으니까
last
뿌듯한 것 같습니다.
match, and
말씀해주신 대로 지난
getting a
경기
POM after a long
POM
time
결과가
makes me very
있었습니다.
happy.
끝나고 피드백 많이 거치셨을
That's
것
right.
같거든요.
It was
어떤 이야기
must have been pretty
나누셨을까요?
disappointing
일단
after
저희가
that defeat
여태까지
against
아쉬웠던
KT. So what was the
부분들이나
feedback
보완할 점 많이
like?
얘기했던 것 같고 또
I think we talked a
네.
lot about
그런 것 같습니다.
a lot of the things that we need improvement on, and try to work on those as a focus. And every time you play Kennen, you win. You got a 3-0 score with him. So in what circumstance do you like to pick him?
교현이 이제 너프를 많이 먹어서 체급도 좀 내려오고
I think I normally like playing Kennen against Gwen, and because Gwen also got a recent nerf, I think Kennen has an upper hand during the laning phase as well, so it was a pretty comfortable game. And yeah, so in game 1, the enemy seemed to target you relentlessly, so it looked pretty rough to deal with.
좀 초반에 이득을 많이 못 봐가지고
Because of the Gwen and Pantheon, I feel like I did fall behind earlier on, but I think I did predict that to happen. And in game 1 again, you failed your penta, and you look so disappointed. How did you feel? No, lately we've been seeing a lot of pentakills, so I saw the angle and I went for it, but yeah, what a disappointing result. We'll be looking forward to your pentakill next time. Thank you. And in game 2, the draft was quite interesting. We got Bot, Kalista with Soraka, and you picked top Vladimir, so what led to this comp? So I think against the enemy and with our comp, we actually had a lot of fun with that pick in last stand as well, so I think we just wanted to go for it again. And in every team fight in game 2, your Vladimir's contribution was amazing, and the game state wasn't too favorable for you. So how did you find this engaging goal? I think this one, I saw a really good positioning here to go in. The location of every champion here was really good to go into, and I just didn't expect the Varus to actually pop so easily, but it happened. And your next match is against the opponent you said you're looking forward to the most in round 2, Gen G. So how do you think it'll go? We're actually going to face Gen G and T1 back to back, and because we need to race towards the top of the standings, I know that the next upcoming matches will be quite crucial for our standings, so we'll have to put in even more effort to win those. And what is your resolution for the next matches? Fighting! You know, both of the teams that you're facing in the future are behind you. But we will look forward to an amazing match and performance from you in the future. And that's the end of the interview with Zeus, and back to the space. Thank you.